she'd take 2 5-gallon pails of corn or whatever she was carrying, just like a, didn't seem to bother her when she was younger. It didn't bother because she started to get stooped up.
Or she never come.
No, she never.
I was always amazed how she fed everybody all the time.
Pa,
Well,
he took care of himself pretty good. He'd line up to work and then he'd go to town or something. So you'd be sure everybody had plenty to do when he was gone.
He retired overseer, didn't he?
Yeah. Oh, he kind of semi-retired early.
Yeah.
When he was 40 years old, I mean, he didn't haul bundles or anything like that.
He'd rather do
Yeah.
Yeah.
Business part of it.
Yeah.
And he was always on a bunch of boards, and they had meetings in the day. Well, he didn't go at night. Well, getting back to when we first moved, Francis, when he told me they wouldn't, it was good, and they wouldn't, but they wouldn't warn me to make it. But about that year after, we had a bunch of pigs here on the business up at the bank. In fact, they had the mortgage on my personal property, and I was all right. And he come out here in July, and he wanted to tell me, "Now that you're a landowner, you should have life insurance," he said. And I said, "Yeah." And he had all along with me from Ecuador. And they started in, well, you should have, you should have 20,000, he said, at least on now. He said, "Man, and starting out this way, you should have 20,000 life insurance so your widow would have something to her up if something happened to you." Yeah, so I said, "These busy," and they were writing out, asked me my age, and I told them they wrote out a whole policy and handed it and told me to sign right there, and he put an X on there. "I ain't going to sign that. I ain't money." "You don't need any money," he says. I said, "The hell with you." I said, "When I wanted money, you wouldn't give it to me." Never take it from me. Look at that.
Do it.
He was something else.
I remember going in, I had a little account in there that I'd take, savings account, and I'd buy a car. And he said, "We got the best $1 everybody in the place could." And I said, "Shit, give me my money and I'll take it."
He got awful lot sometime. I just walked in the door. What happened was I because I bring fertilizer to Allendale, only a couple of tons. I suppose it'd probably run $100 or something of that sort. But I had up there. But they come when I got back with the hogs, so the fertilizer on the hay rack here. I wrote, "It's overdrawn." I just picture that hog check and no one ball me out. There's some poor people like me.
How the hell he could run a
He liked to holler at himself. That time I was that's nice to me always.
Remember the Second World War? It was to get gas, tractors, and equipment.
People that you had to have a certain, you could get tires. Like Price, he got tires. And all he had to do was drive to his house. we couldn't get tires out here. I went down Austin and got some recaps. And I got his Andyville down there, and it blew out the first one of the recaps and brought it back down there. And well, I went right back down there with it. Somebody gave me a ride down there, and the recap didn't blow out. The sidewalls aren't guaranteed. He said. Well, I said, you got to give me a tire to get home on. Give me a smooth Montgomery Ward tire, and I never did bring it back to him. I kept driving. I drove on that one all through the war.
I still got some really
Have you? Cigarette, coffee,
coffee for the house.
meat?
Yeah, they used to keep a lot of stuff under the counter. Friends, they'd bring it out on the, hand it over the counter, you know, but you didn't want nobody to know they was getting it.
Yeah. Well, you could sell the ration stamps too.
Meat was the same way. I remember Sanford Smith over here. He sold. You couldn't weren't allowed to suppose without stamps in there.
Right.
And he'd sold all his yearlings that year. He fed them off and then sold them. And of course, I was wrong in butchering them for him, but I got $3 a head for butchering at that time, and people would come and get a half each, you know. But I only charged them for I bled them and skinned them and hung them up and that was $3, you know. One time he come here, come over and butcher one because the guy is coming at noon to get it. And I said, I'm maybe chicks this morning, and I don't know if I can make it at noon. So I worked as fast as I could, got the chicks and put them in the brooder's house, and went over there, and I got over there at 11. And boy, he was really excited because I come at noon. He said, to get this. So I said, I can't. So I worked as fast as I could, and 5 minutes after 12, I had it all split, hung up, everything, you know. And he said, how much do I owe you? I said, $3. For a half hour's work, he said.
How much an hour for this?
No, they charge you $10 for that and keep the hide just for killing them.
Yeah, I got Richard and I hauled hay for Clarence Ingwaldson, and I was about 16 and Richard was about 18. But I was full grown, and I worked up in the hay mow and everything that they sent up, and it was damn hot with that tin roof. We got. He was willing to pay Richard $1 an hour, but since I was younger, he didn't want to pay me that much.
Isn't that always the way? You work just as hard, if not harder.
I said, I handled everyone he handled. I get the same amount he gets.
Well, the same way when I worked for I was 13 in Oberberg, we thrashed Oberbergs, and you want to know if I could run, because I met some thrashing, and they want to know if I could run his team over to his place, and said I would. I got over there at 7 o'clock in the morning, so I took his team and went out and started loading up. And got that night, there was one load left, so I got on. He said if I'd go out and get the last load, you'd get done thrashing there. So I went out and loaded up another load. The last load come up and was in eating supper that night at 9 o'clock. And Obert felt so good, he got all through thrashing, and he was, when he got through eating, he said, I'll pay you. He said, how much do I owe you? Well, I said, my dad pays his men $1.25 a day. That was boogie at that time. And I said, I hauled more loads than anybody else did today, so I should at least get $1.25. Oh, for a kid, but I'll give you 75 cents. 75 cents. And I never worked for Oberberg again.
Yeah, I never worked for Vince again. Yeah, that's something.
They did the same thing over at hired. He got hired to 10 blower. Then I tended the blower and made a pretty nice stack. And then about 4 o'clock, he had a heck of a crop of grain that year, and his granary got full. So he put me up on the top of the granary to shovel it down so they could, both ends, so he could get more in there. If you've ever been up in the granary when it's hot and dusty, damn your chokes in, you couldn't get out. There's no way you could get out.
Yeah, that was scary, actually.
Yeah. And then we got done about 4 or 5, 6 o'clock. Done. I stood around there and waited for money to him to pay me. He never even come close to me. He'd walk past me. He wouldn't say nothing. What I was hanging around for. He never did pay me. I didn't care to work there anymore either. Get the guy who picked the umbrella was good. He'd always pay. He wouldn't overpay, but he was generous about it. Even Carl Svensson, he paid me when I worked for him. Some of these boys are really tight.
They were tight, you know.
Yeah, they were tight. You know, if there ever was a time when they should have had unions, is when they worked on the farmers. Because the farmers was, you know.
I don't guess they had much money either, though, did
No, but
these kids sure took a beating in those days.
the first guy I worked for Charlie Spindler then when I was only about 14 or 15. We got our haying done, and Charlie didn't have his haying done, and he hired me to go over there and put up hay. And he paid me $0.25 an hour. Well, I thought that was money.
Mm-hmm.
But you earned it when the old lady drove the team on there. She had 3 horses on the hay rack and an old Dane motor. You had the, she never stopped. You just either got covered up or you had them out. But Charlie was pretty good. He was reasonable.
Didn't Charlie work in town too?
He worked for Cercis for years.
Yeah.
Then he bought that and went to farming and then into the seed business. That's where he made the money.
Mm-hmm.
He said you money selling at market price.
Mm. Yeah, so he was familiar with working by the hour than most of the.
Yeah, he was. Then I would say he expected work out of you,
Yeah.
but he was reasonable about it.
Yeah.
But his wife, she didn't. You couldn't stop for nothing. And I know Sylvester Carlson worked there. He worked there all year, and he said that he liked Charlie, but he didn't like it.
Remember Lynn Lewis did most of the work.
Yeah.
Well, all the things for the REA.
50 cents a day.
Yeah. He's a pretty good mechanic.
He pretty was a good worker. If you could keep him off the sauce, he was another good worker. And he was a lot of fun to work with.
Oh yeah, he was fine.
You know, you didn't go by very long before you had the.
Yeah, he's one of the, you know, he was a guy, really.
Yeah, really, he was an intelligent man. If he could, just one bad fault, liquor.
Yeah,
One time when we was putting up hay here, and we loaded loose hay at that time, and it rained that night, that morning, or well, it was for a couple of days there. And morning when the train went by here, I could see you looking out the barn door that morning, and it wasn't too long before then walked up the road and out to the pavement here. And then I went uptown, got some lumber to build a self-feeder from. I was studying. The sun was shining then. I told him, Bucky, I said, I got hay down, but my hired man is gone. I said, I don't know where to look for him. He said, I think they got your hired man locked up there. And Glendennis turned the corner and was coming along, and he run out the door. Bucky did, and he flagged. Marion wants his hired man to put up hay. He said, you got him up there in the. Yep, Ben says he's in jail. He says, we'll drive uptown, he said, and we'll go into Carmen's and we'll get him out. And here comes Glenn with Teddy Adams. Carmen asked Lynn Lewis what the charges were. He ain't drunk, he said. And so 12 and a half. And I had to write out a check for $15. It was 12 and a half fine and 2.5. So I gave him a check for $15. He said, "What about you, Theodore Frank Delnor?" He said like that, you know. "No, sir, it's Theodore." "Were you drunk yesterday too?" he said. "Oh, no." He said, "Well, 12 and a half in costs," he said. "The hell." He told him to take him back, put him in jail. And come to ask that Swiner, he didn't have no way home.
Now, couldn't he?
Yeah. That was old Carver. He was just like he was an officer of the court doing it.
What was he? Yeah, I know he was, but what was he? District attorney? Or?
Oh, just a justice of peace.
Justice of peace. Okay, that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, justice of peace. Yeah, he used to find all them guys they'd lock up in Bloomington time. Some of them, when they'd come to town, they'd lock them up right away because they knew they was going to get drunk anyway. Willie Williamson, they'd throw him in right away.
Remember, we were talking to him I was talking to him one night. His daughter and Alan were in the confirmation class. And he said, for the population of Blooming, there was an inordinate amount of town drunks. When he started naming them, and there really was. There was a lot of drunks for the size of that town.
Yeah, well, Blooming Prairie was a booze capital of the world for a while. Well, I've often said that if they had laws as strict as they have warning. Farmers was all heading home from when school let out, and to do chores, and if you got a ride with them, some of them was way too drunk to drive when you rode with them.
Yeah.
Take it home either. There was the regular drinkers like Andrew Bastis and some of them, that tanked up, but they seemed to could hold it all.
They're in a normal state of being.
Yeah.
But he started, he was a but he started, and there was a tremendous amount of them that regularly. The three pool halls were full of card players every other.
Yeah. It was there used to be what they call the green lodge. The farmers out there, it seemed like they must have got their chores done up there. And for a while they played in the creamery too, because some all got together, and play cards.
You still got the
elevator and the co-op boiler.
What happened to
the? It broke. The board didn't even know what was happening, but he was on the commission. And for a fact, because I used to homework up there, and they still there. Co-op there. Both of them, I guess, are all 16 years. Was on.
money from all.
It was a lot of money.
Lost quite.
And the co-op was $100 a day.
No, what did the week or the year you got?
It was 30 some dollars. I don't know, $30 anyway at the elevator, and 25 at the oil company. Well, I had
You retired when?
1982.
Well, when'd you build this house?
10 years ago, 1978. Moved in September 1978. We moved into our other house that was married.
Seemed roomy, didn't it?
Room, but now it's full on.
I think we were on account of Daryl because it was too
Yeah.
crowded in the other house for Daryl to. So you got to have 3-foot doors. You can't
Yeah.
have.
Yeah, it's been a nice house.
Yeah, it is.
Can't have too much furniture in it.
Did you take any trips since you?
Oh, a few here. Just got back from Mackinac Island. Not too many weeks ago. Last week
Up on the Upper Peninsula?
up into Canada. Stayed there
Yeah.
2 nights. Yeah, we had a real good time. And we've been to Florida and California since you retired, haven't we?
Did you take a bus trip or did you drive?
On Farmers Union bus.
Oh.
About 3 trips.